Welcome back to Hacienda Iluminada. The last time we visited this coffee hacienda up in the mountains of Puerto Rico, we learned all about the history of Hacienda Iluminada and what happened with Hurricane Maria and how they grow their coffee from every single detail. From the need for shade to the little bugs that they have to watch out for and how they keep their plants healthy. And this time, it's time to learn what do they do next after they pick that coffee, how do they process it, and then I'm dying to drink it. So vamos, come on, and let's learn more about coffee at Hacienda Iluminada.
Coffee machine from 1955 from Bayamon. We bring the coffee from the farm, and then for the selection, a manual selection, we throw them in water, and then the floaters go out, and then the ones that sink, they're the good ones. So why floaters? Probably because genetically the bean is empty, or the coffee borer. The coffee borer.
There's a spider in there.
So here we can see this one has the little hole here. You see a tiny, tiny hole here? That's the coffee borer. So we're gonna take the skin off of this one so you can see it. And you can see the damage here.
Wow.
So that's why it was floating, because most of the coffee bean was eaten. So now if we do this, let's see if they float or sink. When they float, that means that they ate most of the coffee bean. And this one, it's a pea berry. Pea berry is caracolillo, or genetically, there's supposed to be 2 coffee beans inside a coffee cherry, but something happened and this one didn't develop, and one bean took over, and it got like an oval, rounded shape. The way this works is that this with those tips, the coffee cherry is gonna go through an aperture there, and it won't fit, but it's gonna get stuck to one of those, you know, tooth, and it's gonna break it, and it's gonna throw the skin towards the back and the good coffee towards the front. Huh?
Can't escape it.
It's part of the activity. Suavecito para que vean y eso. ¿Ah? But this is good stuff. The equipment that was there, we took it down because we're expanding. And since this facility was supposed to be finished a year ago and it didn't happen, they're holding the new processing plant. We disassembled the other one that was there, so now we're working with the small one. So Angel is working there, you know, a lot because we have a smaller one, but it's easier than this one. We're gonna see it now. So then we take the coffee like this. The floaters, yes, but these are bad because these are either empty. You can take that one and press it, and you're gonna see that there's nothing inside. Same with these, and those are broca damage.
It's slimy.
Yeah, it's slimy. So this one, you see how it's empty?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is empty too. So this is waste. Still got the mucilage here, and we have different options. We can either, like this, throw it to the African bed. We dry it there for excuse me, for 4 days.
Is there a ritual that you do after you put them in the African bed?
Angel, he dances around the clock.
And pump.
We should, because this is sacred, right? I mean, it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job. So then we take that and we just throw it here, and you can actually come and see it. le da mimes, normal, por eso se tiene que estar meneando.
My grandma used to do that.
So, ¿este se echó ahí cuándo, Ángel?
Ayer.
So, the previous equipment was here. There was a mess in here. But since this was supposed to be finished here and we disassembled it, we took it out. The equipment hasn't arrived, just a few of them. But anyway, this was the old dryer, big capacity dryer. And this is the machine that selects and processes, depulps the coffee. So, ¿la puedes prender? Por favor. So the coffee goes here. The machine takes the skin off. The coffee goes here. If the coffee was green, it was a green bean. It's not big enough to go through here it's not big enough to be processed, split by the machine. So it comes complete. It goes here. But when it gets here, it's not big enough, it's not small enough to go through here. The ones that go through here, through these little holes, are the ones that were right, but since they were split, now they fit through here because there were two and now there's one, so they go through here. The green ones go here. You can touch it because he just turned it off a few minutes ago. So what happens here, coffee is drying, right? And this is parchment coffee. We take the parchment off. We take the parchment off. And then we get the coffee bean, the green coffee bean.
How do you get it off the parchment?
It's a machine that does that. Yeah, it's a hauler. And now you can actually smell the green coffee. It doesn't smell like coffee yet. It smells like green coffee. Rico, we usually go to the low part to either 10 or 11, and by the time we put it in the bag, it's maybe 12. And then we store it at least for 90 days. Coffee needs to rest for 90 days. After 90 days, it's ready to be hauled. So we have to kind of calculate everything because, okay, 90 days and then we haul it and then we have to wait 30 days after it has been hauled. We have to wait 30 days to roast it. So we wait 30 days or we store it, air conditioner, dehumidifier for a year, up to a year. Because under those conditions, the coffee lasts perfect condition all that time. Okay, and then we roast it. This is what Rico from the US, and because of that, we decided to go with a US made machine. This is San Francisco. It's an amazing equipment. It's very artisan. Put the coffee here, coffee goes here, depending on the roast we want. Is the heat curve we're gonna give it. We do a medium roast here. This is like a medium roast. Only one crack. The temperature goes to about 400 degrees, and that's it. The coffee is ready. It's freshly roasted, so it hasn't fully developed the aroma. You smell it, and it's not there yet because we just roasted it. Usually about 72 hours. I like 72 hours rest, and then it's ready. We roast the coffee here. We open this up, coffee comes here, and it cools down here. Air is being sucked down here, and it goes out and up in the air. That's an afterburner, so no contamination goes outside. Everything stays there. That's it. This is a very manual facility. We roast the coffee, and we bag it over there. That's it.
So how long does it stay in here?
10 minutes.
Oh, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Medium roast, you develop the sugar. You lose some of the floral notes, but you gain the chocolate and sugar notes, the caramel notes, dark chocolate notes. A dark roast, you get rid of all the fruity notes, you get rid of all the floral notes, and the sugar goes into a burning stage, and you get a very bold, earthy coffee, not sweet, strong, but strong flavor, burn flavor. Huh? Caffeine goes down. The more you roast coffee, the more you're burning caffeine. So people think like, oh, I like a dark roast because it's strong, meaning like it's gonna keep me awake. This is strong. Right. And it's not the right way. The right way, I think, is you get to keep some of the notes from the region the coffee is being grown, and you get the coffee flavor, you get the sugar flavor, you get the dark chocolate or chocolate flavor. A light roast, you don't get the coffee notes, you don't get the caramel, you don't get that on a light roast.
What's the difference in time between the light roast and the dark roast? Or is it time or temperature?
It's temperature.
Temperature.
Curve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Time, maybe a minute, but it's not based on time.
Uh-huh.
It's mostly based on the heat curve.
All right, so you're doing this at 400. What would you do a dark roast at?
Well, the thing is, a dark roast, it's more time.
Okay.
It's a little bit more time. Not so much temperature, because you keep it a little longer. The temperature is gonna go up, of course, a little bit, but you're gonna go through the second crack. The second crack is roughly between like about 370, 380. The actual coffee, you hear the crack. So the green bean is actually cracking, and you hear it and you see all the vapor that goes out. But when you go to a second crack on a dark roast, you get rid of all those good essential oils. That's why dark roast, when you bag it or you place them on a hopper, you see the oils. You see that grease.
Yeah.
That's bad, because that grease, what happens to oil when it's exposed to air? It oxidizes, right? It becomes rancid. That's what happens to the coffee. It's awful. People like that, but I guess they were raised like that, but it's not good. It is not good. It's actually a problem. It's oxidation.
You have some infused coffees?
Yeah.
What's the process? Are you going to show that to us?
It's the same coffee.
Uh-huh.
We infuse it with rum, rum, spices, for 48 hours, yes, for 48 hours. And
So you just let it soak in the rum?
Yeah.
Is that how you infuse it?
soak it in rum, spices, and all that good stuff, and 48 hours is ready.
That's before or after you roast it? After you roast it?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Try it again, and also two completely different methods. Coffee tastes completely different.
They do coffee for them. The CEO quit Starbucks, and then he became the CEO for the new branch of Starbucks, which is called Starbucks Reserve, and that's the one thing he's managing right now. There's only 6 Starbucks Reserve in the world. It's New York, Chicago, Seattle, San Francisco. Okay, New York, Seattle, Chicago, Shanghai, Tokyo, Milan. And they just bought a coffee farm in Costa Rica. And we were lucky enough to be invited to the grand opening of the farm. And we asked, why are you guys investing in a farm? And they basically said, there's more production, there's less production of coffee than ever in history, and there's more consumption of coffee than ever in history. So we really need to go deep and see what's happening. How are we going to be able to maintain and sustain our business if there's no more coffee? So that's kind of what we're doing. That's why we have the micro lots. That's why we focus so much on how do we make it sustainable, how do we grow it faster, how do we revolutionize and take specialty coffee. If we wanted to compete with Colombia, Brazil, or Vietnam, which are the top 3 producers of coffee in the world, we wouldn't because of pricing. We have to pay at least $7.25 an hour, that you've probably heard. So selling normal coffee, it's not going to make us different. We have to find it disruptive. We have to go out there and make it different. And that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for sustainability, and we're aiming for making the impossible possible. So how do we push? How do we take new flavors? How do we innovate? That's where the rum infused comes in. That's where having different methods, training our baristas to the next level, doing an exchange. So Saida worked for a coffee shop. She runs a coffee shop, and yet she's here. Nathan runs the machine and equipment. He works out of New York. He lands tonight, and he'll be a week here in Puerto Rico. So we constantly change. Angel goes to New York, and vice versa. How do we bring value to both ends? So how does a farmer appreciate a barista, and a barista appreciates a farmer, and that way we collaborate as a union and become something bigger and better.
So we learned all about how coffee is processed at Hacienda Iluminada, and then we got to taste it a number of different ways, and it's so delicious. Now we're back in San Juan, and of course we had to buy our own pound of coffee.
Or 12 ounces is the case.
12 ounces for $21. So we learned why it's premium coffee, and so I feel this is worth it for how they did it. So I'm excited to take this back with me to the United States, and of course this morning I'll have to have a little bit of my own coffee. We'll see. Enjoy it. Hey rico. Y bellissimo.
Wow, look at that.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's
Doesn't
a
even
nice
need
touch.
sugar. It's so smooth.
And you got the neighbor discount here, didn't you?
I did. So thanks for joining us on our coffee hacienda tour and tasting. And until next time, may your suitcase always be messy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that bell to be notified of upcoming videos. Hasta luego. See you soon.